Hello. Um, Today's a bit of a lazy day for me. It's raining outside. It's a weekend, so I'm feeling cozy. Um, yeah. And as you can see by the title of the video, today I'll be talking about God and quantum physics. Because what got me into my spirituality as a hardcore, only proven by science atheist was quantum physics and the more theoretical aspect of it. Because with everything that involves God, quantum physics seems to align in a way, because there are experiments to prove and disprove the existence of God, even though we can't see it. The same way that there are experiments to prove and disprove quantum physics and quantum mechanics, i.e., the way the world works, the way this universe works. And this kind of links to one of the previous videos that I made, where you have the map and the territory. You have your own map, which is based on everything you've learned and how you see and interpret the world and the way the world or the universe actually is. And sometimes there is a mismatch. As you can see, it's the opposite. My right hand, the thumb is on this side, and my left hand, the thumb is on this side. And if I try to overlay the map and try to match as many things as possible, you will notice that these fingers are a bit taller and this thumb is on the side, and then this other thumb is on the side, so it's not necessarily balanced. And if you try to balance it in any other way, this looks kind of trippy, and from my perspective at least, it still matches, but there are differences, and I think the idea is to be in alignment with the principles of this universe, and this looks very much like the praying, but yeah, it's just the way our hands are. It's just for the purpose of the explanation. Now, the reason why I'm talking about both quantum physics and God is because I was thinking about God and what does God mean to me, and what does God mean to everybody else in the world. And what came to mind at first was, I see God as a man, even though God is a creative and life-giving force, which is usually associated with the feminine aspect, or the yin side, rather than the yang. But when we're talking about energies and balance, yang is the masculine aspect, usually the right side of your body. It's the side that dictates action. It's the side that takes priority in action. It is a very much a doing side. And on an energetic sense, the yin side is more receptive. It is more nurturing. And maybe this is founded by misogynistic or historical principles. I don't know. But it does tend to line up with part of my spiritual path. And this is very complex and interwoven on some levels, especially when we're adding the human element to it, which I don't want to get into right now. But I am aware that there are considerations to be made. Like I just mentioned, is the yin and yang based on old stereotypes? Maybe. And we live in a world with these stereotypes. And we've been growing into and outgrowing these visions and ways of being and seeing. So my perspective on this might change, but It is what it is my current perspective, and I feel comfortable in sharing because it makes so much logical sense to me, and hopefully I can explain it in a way that makes sense to you. Anyways, I did end up going a bit into it, but yeah, that is what I intend to do. Um, Going back to why I see God as a man, okay, and why, even though God is a creative force, or whatever you want to call God, you can call it the universe, you can call it Jesus, you can call it Buddha, you can call it Allah, Vishnu, you can call it whatever you attach the meaning of God being in your life. And if you don't, that's fine as well. Maybe you don't have a God and you are atheist, like I used to be. Um, and the beauty of religion and science is you can test it. And I won't go into testing it in this video per se, because I want to keep on topic. I have notes to the side, especially because I'm talking about quantum mechanics. And I won't lie, I'm not necessarily informed in all of the principles of quantum mechanics and quantum physics. If I told you I understood it fully, I'd be lying to you. So everything I say, if you think that I'm either wrong or right, and it confirms something to you or it unconfirms something to you, just go and look it up, okay? Try and find news reports on research if you can, because the language on research is very complex unless you have the time and the mental capacity to learn a whole load of new terminologies. Because I pulled up the research here. I have my notes on my computer this time to make my life easier, and just reading the abstract of this one piece of research, which is available for free, by the way, it uses so many words that I'm not familiar with in a scientific context. And, like terminologies like Gaussian pulses, I'm not sure what that is, Gauss is something to do with energy, I believe. I'm not sure. So this specific research paper I found during reading a blog after reflecting about God and quantum physics. So my journey started very much with spiritism and spirituality through quantum physics, because you hear about how, quantum entanglement works, how the spin of one particle after touching another, if they're sent to the opposite sides of the universe. So you have a particle, let's say a proton or a neutron or whatever, you have two of them, and if you connect them and disconnect them and you send them to one side of the universe and the other side of the universe, and you're able to manipulate one to spin in a different way or to move in a different way, on a quantum level, instantly, without any delay, the other particle will react exactly the same. This is, exactly the same. So if you spin this one, the other one's going to spin in the same direction, which means quantum entangled. They are connected, they are entangled and meshed in a quantum level. So this is just one of the things that I believe ties into spirituality very nicely, because you talk in spirituality, especially modern age spirituality, and in some spiritist principles, every time you have a physical connection with someone or a sexual relation to someone where you're connecting your sacral chakras together and therefore connecting your crown to your sacral on both, it's a connection, it's a full-on connection going on. You create these cords that are attached to people, to your sacral chakra or your solar plexus, which is where usually these connections get attached. And this is, for me, very much like quantum entanglement. So I'm very much seeing these parallels between the theoretical science that is being proven and tried to be disproven, and then spirituality and New Age spirituality and spiritism, and religion even, religion, Christianity, which I'm most aware and comfortable talking about, even though I'm not an expert in it, also talks about the value of maintaining sexual purity. Now, I'm not going to go into the whole arguments regarding the ethics and the morality of that, because that is challenged in modern day, and I understand. But these are all parallels that I'm seeing being made. And if you look into the history of quantum physics, and quantum mechanics and science in general, I think it was the Copenhagen Convention. I think in the mid 60s, I'm a bit rusty with this. It's been a few years since I've looked at it, if I'm being honest. I think it was in the mid 60s. But please correct me if I'm wrong, where basically religion and religious belief was separated from science and scientific stuff, because science is clearly observable and falsifiable, and to be falsifiable means that the science can either prove or disprove, the ideas and the theories, whereas with God and with religion and with philosophy, you can test these things, but results aren't instant, and results take time. Most of the time, sometimes it doesn't. That's where the idea of miracles come from. But anyways, I've ranted on about this for a while, but this is just to say that there are parallels, and there was a point where science and religion were together as one, and they were separated. And there are so many conspiracies and thoughts as to why that has happened, but the most objective truth is science is easy to prove or disprove, and religion is hard to prove or disprove. Those are the main ideas, okay? Going back to my points here, because I've already gone off track. Okay. The reason why I believe that God is a man, even though it has characteristics of a woman in the sense of creating and giving life and birthing life, as you see how life is persistent regardless of what's going on. Oh, I thought that was the delivery for me. Yeah, even though God has these female creation characteristics of nurturing and of life persisting and non-stopping and driving life forward, including not life on this planet, but the life of the universe, how it recycles itself. A star dies, it produces all of these metals and gases that produce other stars and other planets, and that produce the gold that our economy values so much today, for example. That gold is only created from a star dying, So that's impressive. That is impressive. And these are all elements and materials that we use in day-to-day life to further humanity. So there is this creative process that is always going on, and the world and the universe is always dying and rebirthing itself. So in a way, I do believe that God is androgynous. God, or the universe, does not have a gender or a sex, or it is both or it is all. And or substitute or for and both. But for me, God presents itself as a man. And in the Bible, God is a man, I believe, because it was written by men. And that is the way that it was expressed because of their own understanding of God. Now, I think this happened in a subconscious level. And the reason for this is here, okay? So imagine this is the entire observable universe we're in. This includes all of the planets, all of the constellations. It includes the Milky Way. It includes the Andromeda Galaxy. It includes everything. And we're not necessarily at the center, okay? We're dotted around, and there are galaxies and life forms and stars and suns and planets. Everything in the observable universe is here. And let's say that we're a little speck here. Just imagine this with me. And in this speck is Earth. It's our galaxy. It's Earth. And what do we have on Earth? We have humans, we have animals, you and me, okay? Both of us watching this video, we are within the observable universe, okay? And what is this? Some people relate to God as the universe, and why is that? Especially New Age spirituality and spiritism. If you've read the book of Urantia as well, that's an interesting read, or Allan Kardec's books. Those are very good as well if you're into spirituality and spiritism. the main idea is that we are within God. And that would make sense on a religious aspect as well, because God is omnipresent, which means he's present throughout. Okay? He's omnipotent, which means he has the power to create or destroy. And he is omniscient, which means he knows everything. Okay? Omnipresent, omniscient, and the other one, which I forgot that I just said. So this gives me the impression that God is our universe. Okay? We are within God. So if universe equals God, and we are inside universe, we are inside God. So that explains how God is present, how God knows, and the power of God. Okay? That explains it all for me in my conception. And if you don't understand it, I'll make a video making a drawing out of it so it's easier to comprehend, because this is very mental, very thought experimenty. Okay? If we are within God, like the bacteria in our stomach, then we are God, because we are a small part that has appeared or popped into life by the grace of the universe or the God, whatever you believe in. So if we are in God, that means we are God. And if I am God because I am in it, then I am one way that God expresses himself. God chose to express himself through me as a man, as a cisgendered male. Okay? The same way he expresses himself, or itself, as a whole other gamut of genders and sexualities and types of people to gain experience. Yeah, that's basically it. So what I'm trying to say is, if we're in the universe, which is God, I am God. But not in an egocentric way, okay? I'm not saying I have the power. I'm not saying I'm better than you. I'm not saying I'm better than God or equal to God, because I do have characteristics and traits that are that of a human, and God is not human. Might be human, I don't know. This is my ego talking. And what I believe is happening is we are just manifestations of God, since we are in it. We are in the universe. So I manifest as a man, and I believe God is a man, even though I understand emotionally and mentally. I did the opposite way around. Even though I understand emotionally and mentally that God is both a creative and an active force. It is both the yin and the yang. It is both the masculine and the feminine. So it is everything in between, and also nothing at all, because God itself transcends the concept of yin and yang. Because these are concepts that we use to understand ourselves. These are concepts that have been passed down spiritually to us to be able to understand our own progress in life. Because when you truly reach enlightenment and your soul becomes this close to God, that is almost perfect to God, you let all of these labels go, because you associate more with God, which I believe is a feeling of unconditional love and care, regardless of everything that is going on in the world right now. Sorry, my computer's decided to turn itself off. Okay. Yeah, omniscient, that was the word. Omnipotent. He has the power. Potent, potency, omni, all powerful. Omnipresent, all present. So he is everything, everywhere, all at once. Great movie, by the way. And omniscient. Omni, all. Scient is knowing, so all knowing. Okay? And if we are inside God, we are God. Okay, we are all an individuation of God. And individuation means you are one, and you become two, and you become 8, and you become 16, you're individuating, you're creating more versions of yourself. God is creating more versions of himself or itself. And with a purpose to learn and to grow. Otherwise, just existing on your own as an energy is boring. So you want to create, you want to give life, you want to, and because you are creating and giving life, you naturally know everything because you think it into existence. And this is where another principle of quantum physics comes in, which is called a wave function collapse. Okay? A wave function collapse is how your thoughts affect, or how your thoughts or observations affect, because they're linked, how those aspects affect reality. And these have all been tested and trying to be disproved. They've all been proved multiple times. You can go and look at this. Okay? So a wave function collapse is a thought that creates a reality or the possibility of that reality. Now, you might relate to this about your thoughts creating your reality. You can see how this works practically in, self-fulfilling prophecies, other sorts of psychological tested theories. So it is proven that the way we think, the way we see the world, and the way we feel is all connected into shaping our reality. So that is automatically wave function collapse. That is how I see it, integrating religion and philosophy, okay? So do with that as you may. Also, it's just my understanding, and I'm making connections and dots between things. And in our universe, what would we call God? Because it's around us, it's within us, we are in it as well. And what is the only thing in our observable universe that exists everywhere, that is present everywhere in our observable universe, of which we are aware of and has been tested? The quantum vacuum. Yes, the quantum vacuum. The quantum vacuum is basically where all of the energy and matter that exists comes from. It appears, it exists. And the quantum vacuum is not a vacuum per se, as in, even though it behaves like that with 0-point energy experiments. The quantum vacuum is the underlying energy field that is everything everywhere, okay? It is where particles come out of. It is a minimal vibration of energy that exists. 0-point energy. Now, my understanding of 0-point energy is if there is nothing, there is still energy, okay? That is my understanding. Let me see what I wrote in my notes. Yeah, okay, so if you want to look at 0-point energy, you're going to have to research the Heisenberg uncertainty principle. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to link the resources that I was reading after reflecting about God and remembering quantum physics. I'll put them all in the description below. So if you want to look at 0-point energy, look at 0-point energy and the Heisenberg uncertainty principle, okay? 0-point energy, as I said, is the idea that when there is absolutely nothing, i.e. the quantum vacuum, there is still energy that creates magnetism, okay? And this has been proven by testing plates uncharged, okay? So they're not magnets. They don't have neither a positive nor a negative charge. They are completely neutrally charged. Yet, when they're placed together, they still attract. And that is because there is still magnetism in the energy in the field between it. It's not the air, it's not anything. These experiments are super controlled, okay? You can look it up yourselves. Even in a perfect vacuum, two plates end up attracting to each other. and touching, even though there should be no explainable reason as to why this is happening. Okay? So there is an underlying field of energy, which is, I'd like to call this underlying field of energy the quantum vacuum. And this is my understanding of what God is. God is just an energy that is everywhere, everything, everywhere, all at once. Watch that movie because it's coming up again. It's a good watch. It's a fun watch. It gets you reflecting as well about multiple universes, because the idea is that this is not the only universe that exists. And since we are in it, we are it. It is around us. It is in us. It is through me right now. It is through my phone. It is through the table. It is through my computer mouse. It is my computer mouse as well. You know, God is everything because we exist in symbiosis with God, or Goddess, or it. I'll just refer to it as it for now. And I believe we are all expressions of one creator. So the point that I'm trying to make is God is what you make of it. God is you, okay? So if you are I don't know. I mean, I'm going to only speak for cisgendered people, but put yourself wherever you fit. As a cisgendered man, God is a god for me, whereas for a cisgender woman, God is a goddess to you. And that is how we see it. That is how modern world sees God. You always see these arguments, and on the internet, God is a woman because it creates. No, God is a man because the Bible said so. But no, you are God because you are within God. You are an individuation of it. So God is everyone. God is everything. God is the wall of my house. God is you. God is your mom. God is your dad. God is your grandma. God is your grandpa. God is my grandparents and my ancestors. God is the dog. Dog is literally God backwards, so that's an easy one. God is everything. Dog is a god. I said dog. Dog is looking at me. Dog is a god. I am a god. I mean, dog is a goddess because it's a she. So these divisive arguments of what God is and God isn't, it's completely unnecessary. It's driven by ego, okay? If you are involved in any discussions of what God is or what the universe is, if the universe is a woman or a man, it's neither. You are a part of it. You are a woman or a man. I'm keeping it cisgendered, heterosexual, but I put yourself wherever you fit. Just for ease of explaining, also from my perspective and understanding, okay? I'm not being exclusive in any way. That's not my intent. You are God, I am God. Or you are whatever God is through you, okay? That's it. That's it. And the reason why I believe God is our universe, we are in it, we are it, it is in us as well, by proxy. Because nothing can come from nothing, okay? Something has to come from something else. And we can go back to the Big Bang. Now, I don't understand how that happened, and I believe that modern science is not in tandem with God and religion, so it does not fully explain. Again, I understand the reason for the divide and the objectivity and the lack of objectivity within science and religion. I understand. But science moves at a much faster pace than a spiritual, mental, emotional progression of individuals in society does, which is sometimes an issue, as you see with atomic bombs. But nothing can come from nothing, okay? It doesn't make sense. If you have nothing, and you make something out of nothing, that's materialistically, physically impossible. That's undoable. You need resources, material, time, money, health, energy to create stuff. Energy to create. Energy that is the underlying quantum vacuum of which we are in this universe. The quantum vacuum is everywhere in this universe. So God, for me, is the quantum vacuum. It's the underlying energy signature which has been measured. So we come back to the wave function collapse. God created this universe by thinking it into existence. And that means thinking about me, thinking about the dog, thinking about this house, who was created by people who were created by the thought and manifestation of God. And because God works on a 0-point energetic plane, everything happens instantly. But because matter is created, time is created, and because matter equals space, because you need space for matter, you create time, okay? And then the whole development. So God sees everything as instant. Time doesn't exist for God, whereas time exists for us because time is slowed down. You know, the creation of the universe slows down because it's 0-point energy, which is very subtle, becoming more or less and less subtle, more and more, energy turning into quarks, into electrons, into muons that create protons and neutrons, and that starts to become matter, and the energy and the heat of the universe starts to naturally attract itself because it has an energetic charge, and it starts to create helium and all of these other elements that slowly become planets, and the planets become living with time, with water, hydrogen, which is created after the Big Bang, So life itself has been just given out and thought and created into the universe. The thought, the idealization of life, of the creation of our universe bubble is, in my opinion, this is just my opinion, it's merely a thought of God or of the universe expressing itself in material form rather than energetic form. And I understand we're talking a lot about mental things, but hopefully I'm being able to relay the concepts to you. And this is so interesting to me that God and religion are seemingly connected. It's very interesting to me. And it's so interesting that in the Copenhagen Convention, that was kind of separated. So everything we know in our observable universe has to come from somewhere. The laws that we live in, are they by happenstance? Or are they thought of? Or are they created? Because what makes energy turn into a quark or a muon or any other, or an anti-quark or an anti-muon? Or any of the, I think, 14 other quantum particles that exist. And what makes a quark and a muon and these other particles form into a proton? Why not a neutron? Why not an electron? Or why not an anti-neutron or an anti-proton? And then we're talking about antimatter, dark matter. Then we're talking about antimatter, dark matter, and there's a book which I'm going to add to the description below, which talks about this from a different perspective as well. It's the same concept. I've read the book. It's the same concept as quantum physics. It's just using different words. Not exactly the similar terminologies as well, and there is some language that doesn't match on both sides. It's a black book. I forgot the name. Theory of Natural Philosophy, Theory of Natural History, Natural Philosophy. I'm gonna have to bring it out. I have it here somewhere, and I'll put the book in the description. But what? Why? Why does energy turn to a specific particle, and why does that particle specifically want to join with this other particle to create a new one? And why do these join with electrons in very specific orbits around those groups of particles that start creating matter, that create this? And humans, and the glasses that I'm wearing, and the headphones I'm wearing, and the phone I'm speaking to. And maybe I'm talking from a place of ignorance, but there is genuine curiosity as to why. And are these laws, the way these things happened, created? Or are they naturally this way? And what if they are naturally this way, why is it naturally this way? There is no explanation. Which brings us back to, it was created by someone or something else. At least in my conception, in my view. So yeah, I am God because I'm a man. You might be a goddess because you're a woman. And that is fine. We're all it. It doesn't make sense to argue about it. If God is omnipresent, it's everywhere. It's omnipotent, it's powerful. It dictates what happens in life, in your own life, and in the world's life, and in the universe life, and is omniscient. It knows everything. We are in it. We are it. And it is in us. And it is us. But we have egos. We have traumatic experiences. We have spiritual and generational trauma to work through. And that is the path of growth. This is what we call self-actualization in therapy, in Rogerian counseling, humanistic therapy, is the innate human drive to grow, to improve, to become better, or to want to. You don't have to be growing. But a lot of depression and anxiety and problems in life come from not being who you want to be, or not being where you want to be, or going where you want to go and doing things you want to do, but not wanting from an ego place of lacking or desire. You can have healthy desire. But it is from a place of wanting connection, wanting love, wanting to be close, So yeah, I'm God, you are God, you are goddess. The dog is God and goddess, even though I think she's a goddess because she's so cute. She's so calm right now. So I find all of these debates about what God is to be a waste of my time. Not a waste of, yes, I mean a waste of my time because I have this understanding, but I understand how me saying it is a waste of my time is damaging to those who still have to learn or need to justify it to themselves. And whatever way you reach this conclusion, you will eventually reach it. Because if you study anything anything, everything. Pick an area of study and fully study it. You will come out with more questions, which will lead you down the path you must go. That's the secret. And in the end, you will find similar results to everybody else. There's a history of scientists who have researched fields and have become religious, or not necessarily religious, but have adhered to an idea or a concept of a universe or a god or a philosophy in their life. And this is historical, it's happened, not as much, but it happens. It happens. It happened with me. Albeit I didn't study quantum physics in depth. What I studied about quantum physics and linking it to personal experience, linking it to observations of the real world and within my family, and taking what I learned from my family and the real world I'm experimenting on myself. I'm experimenting with the world. I'm experimenting with the universe. I'm experimenting with God. And I'm justifying to myself a way to be closer to myself. And the more I get closer to myself, the more I realize I'm not me. I'm an individuation of something bigger than me. I was created by a mother and a father, and the genetics shared between them, of which I got 50% of each. But my soul, what gives me spunk and a spark, that is individual. That was created by God, I believe. And I just want to finish this video off by saying, these are my beliefs. If you challenge them, I will reflect about them. And I might not always agree with what others have to say, and that's okay. The same way you might not agree with what I have to say. But what I ask is that if you're going to comment, just be mindful, okay? Just be mindful, because it's so easy to be triggered about this. And I know I'm on the internet and I'm just spouting my views and my observations and what I believe. And naturally, people who align with this will find this, and people who don't align with this will also find this. And I know I'm doing it kind of ruthlessly, so I bet it feels unfair to ask for your patience and consideration when commenting. But the reason why I say this is because my experience is based on me testing and playing around with different variables. I wouldn't be talking about wave function collapse and particle spins in quantum physics if I hadn't tested those things for myself, and if I hadn't disproven it, because science is testing, it's falsifying. Falsifying means there's a hypothesis, and you want to disprove the hypothesis. You want to prove it wrong. That is the objective of science. So I am trying to disprove all of the connections that I'm making, and I just end up proving them. My experience proves that quantum physics and spirituality link. And it proves that it's such a massive web that I can comprehend in thought and sometimes in feeling, but it's so difficult to word explain it, to push it out sometimes, to vocalize it, because it is such a intricate concept. Okay? And the same way with you, the viewer. You have your own tests, your own concepts, your own ideas. And for me, this brings it back to why healing myself was very important. Because when I was completely unhealed and holding on to trauma, I could not accept the concept of God. You hear those clear arguments: if God exists, why am I depressed and miserable? Why am I being bullied? Why am I always misunderstood? Why do people hate me? If there's a God, I want a miracle now. Please save me. And even though you might be praying, it takes time, because for energy to materialize into matter, for it to become something, takes time. As the creation of the universe did. Billions of years. But if you pray and you have faith, even if you don't have faith, some prayers might come true to prove. It takes time, and for me that time is usually a cycle of about 5 to 10 years. That's what I've observed in life. And sometimes these cycles are a bit longer, but they happen. So don't doubt the power of your prayer, of your intention, of how you can co-create with the universe, because as I speak now, the universe hears me, because I am in the universe. So the universe knows me, the universe knows my thoughts. I don't even have to speak it. I can just think it. So yeah, this is a very complex topic. I respect your decisions to believe in what you believe in. Just understand that I believe in what I believe because I've extensively tested it. I've gone back and forth with myself. I've gone back and forth with other people in the similar path and people in a completely opposite path. I love talking to loads of people and gaining knowledge about life experiences. I'm just aware that just behind the phone, someone pulled up and parked their car and they're looking at me recording a video. So I feel a bit anxious. I'm covering myself. I want to protect, I want to feel safe. I'll look at that anxiety later. Yeah, okay. But at the end of the day, I respect your decisions. But I understand that my thoughts, my views, and my opinions change with the more I change. And I used to just not accept much. I thought the way I saw the world from a hurt place was the way the world was. And then the more I started changing, the more I realized it's nothing like I thought it was. And the more I realized that, the easier life started to become. Because I understood that even though I have all of this knowledge and experience, I know nothing. And that was hard to accept at first, because it's all about control, or at least for me it was. I thought I knew everything because I was scared of the unknown. Because the unknown is so much bigger than what I knew and what I currently know. And having a sense of control in my life by establishing what life is based in my view, which is what also I'm doing now, was empowering. And because this is what I'm doing now as well, I know that it will change in some way, so I'm not attached to how I am now. Because if I were to attach to who I am now and how I am and what I believe in, then it would become fully my identity. Not that I don't attach to it, I still am attached. But not to the same extent that I was attached to my beliefs, my knowledge, and my identity in the past. And the more I understand this, the easier life becomes. Because if I don't know anything in the grand scheme of the universe, then what am I anxious about? And if I believe that God is a loving being, regardless of what happens in the world, because the world is a bunch of, especially people in power, mostly, not all, people with money and influence, they're mentally and emotionally stunted, undeveloped, underdeveloped for their age. It's a lot of emotional reaction rather than emotional processing and responding. Okay? That is the problem. One of the problems. And that's why we have war. Because of ego. That's why we have conflict and we don't have resolution. Where has diplomacy gone? There's fear. Unresolved fear, unresolved anger, unresolved emotional baggage and trauma by influential and rich people, not all, who create chaos. Some claim intentionally for energy harvesting purposes, but that's another story for another day. That's the more spiritual side of life. Or what would be called a conspiracy theorist side from a materialistic side rather than an energetic side of life, or view of life. And some people say it's unintentional. And why is it unintentional? Because people are just reacting. Because people's priorities are wrong. And I'm going to say this openly. If you disagree with that, disagree in the comments. I don't care. I mean, I care. I care about what you think and your opinion. But I don't care in a way because it is what I observe. Then again, I'm attaching my identity to what I observe. But then that might change because the world is changing and because I am changing. Isn't it a mindfuck? And I'll leave you with this mindfuck. My gods and goddesses. Don't let this go up to your head, though. You're not God. You're not perfect. You don't love your enemy. Truly love. Do you? Because I've been on this path for a long time. And even though I can have compassion and empathy, I don't love my enemy still. So if you love your enemy truly in your heart, God knows, don't lie. Universe knows. You can lie to me. You'll be lying to yourself and to whatever you believe in. That's why I don't care. Don't let this God thing go up to your head. I'm not God. I am a part of God. But I'm not God yet. My spiritual life will be billions of years of evolution till I get there. Multiple lives learning and unlearning and relearning. Dharma, karma, the wheel of karma. Yeah. It's a process. So don't let this God thing get to your head, because even though we are in it, we are individuations of it, we are far from it. And with this mindfuck, I will leave it with you. If you enjoyed the video, do what you want to do. Share it with your friends. Share it with people who you find this interesting, who you think will find this interesting. I'm just going over my notes again and what I have with me. If quantum physics or quantum mechanics interests you, check the description box below. There will be a link to Wikipedia on zero point energy. There will be an article about the University of Oxford Department of Physics, who have this year, on the 5th of June 2025, they have recreated an extreme vacuum experiment. And at the bottom of the page, it takes you to the research, okay, which is on nature.com. It's called Computational Modeling of Semi-Classical Quantum Vacuum in 3D. And if you can read it. You might have to stop multiple times, maybe print it out on paper and highlight it and write the meanings on the side of the page. I might do that. Or I might do it on Word, actually, and have it as comments. That will be easier. And then I can print that out and write my own understanding in pen. But I'll leave these links in the description. And if you're telling me, oh, well, don't use Wikipedia, why am I not going to use the world's free knowledge base, where if you try and edit something in up to an hour to fuck around, to mess with information, your account gets banned? I understand that there might be people involved in Wikipedia who purposely put out misinformation. I understand. But nonetheless, it is a free source of knowledge. It's got sources at the bottom that you can read. This page in particular has 250 sources, scientific papers, books. So before you criticize me for my use of Wikipedia, go and have a look at it yourself. Have a great day. I'm gonna chill today. It's raining. It's a bed day and watch movies day, even though I have work to do. Take care. Self-care is important. Quality self-care. This isn't necessarily quality self-care, but it is what I enjoy doing sometimes. I hope you have a great one, great day, evening, or night, whenever you watch this. Bye.